Caldera 5, baby. Hey guys, Paul Ronto here from Run Repeat, and today we're gonna check out the Brooks Caldera 5. Now I know we've done a head-to-head with the Caldera and the Divide, but today I wanted to dive into just the Caldera. The Caldera 5 is a heavily cushioned trail commuter designed to roll over terrain without concern. It's got a super tall stack height, and it seems like Brooks is taking some cues from Hoka nowadays. As always, let's talk about the pros first. Starting with the upper, it's got a engineered mesh upper with plenty of welded overlays, as you can see, to keep debris and moisture out. It's got a heel loop, which I love, and it's got little Velcro attachments for gaiters if you're into off-trail running or if you're getting into some sort of adventure where you might need gaiters. Okay, onto the tongue. It's a thinly padded, gusseted tongue, which I love. I love these stretchy gussets in the Caldera 5. The tongue is shaped nicely. It doesn't come up too high on your ankle, which I really appreciate. The only downside is it has this really heavy hem, which I'm not sure is actually needed. Maybe adds a little weight, adds a little stiffness that I think the shoe could do without. Midsole on this shoe, lots of cushioning underfoot, which is great for those long days out on the trail. It even has a little bit of bounce, which is nice. Now, as you guys know, I don't love some of the midsole products from Brooks these days. I wish they were using DNA Flash on everything, but this midsole does have a little bit of response. It does bounce a little bit. However, with the tall stack heights on this shoe and a little bit of bounce, it takes a little bit to get used to. It feels a little unstable your first run or two. Okay, outsole. It's got grippy trail track rubber, which I like. I really like this compound. It works well. I didn't have any problems with grip on this shoe. I was running it on dry trails. I'll get into this a little bit more in the cons. As for cons, the upper could be a little bit more breathable. Even though it's mesh, it's a heavy duty mesh. It's got lots of welded overlays. The upper could be a little bit more flexible too. I've got a slightly wider foot, and this really did hug my foot nice and snug, but I wish it would have been a little bit more flexible to give my wider foot a little bit more room to move around. Okay, lacing system comes in as a con. It's using these fancy blue webbing loops, which is fine. I don't mind them, but I did have a little heel slip in this shoe, so I needed to use the upper lacing hole with an advanced heel lacing technique to get that locked down. However, the laces were a little too short to use the last blue piece of webbing and in the extra lacing hole. So heel counter, super stiff, had a little heel slip issues. It's heavily padded as well. I think they could have done with a little bit less padding, but this is a really plush shoe. I wanted a little more grip back here in the heel counter. Cons on the outsole, like I was talking about, I think the lug pattern is a little minimal. Although I didn't have any grip issues and these lugs are aggressive, there's not a ton of them. And so if you were to rip one lug off by chance, you'd have a pretty large spot without any grip. Also, this is supposed to be a commuter shoe, so I do think that these lugs aren't great on the road either. The few lugs they do have are fairly tall, which is great when you're on the trail, but not great when you're commuting to the trail. So overall, I wish they would redo the outsole pattern on this, but continue using this trail track rubber because the rubber itself is actually great. Okay, on to the specifics. As for fit, it ran a touch narrow on my slightly wider foot, and it had a little bit of heel slip issues. Comfort-wise, super plush, super comfortable, obviously. I do think it might run a little warm on warmer days with all these welded overlays, and it needed a little bit more support under the medial edge. I felt like as I was running, my foot wanted to pronate. Now, I'm not a pronator. If you've watched these videos before, I actually tend to lean outward on the lateral edge, but I felt like this shoe needed a little more support on that medial edge. Maybe it's because it's so tall that I felt like it was leaning in on me a little bit, but that's something of an issue for sure. Okay, weight, 10.9 ounces. Not a lightweight shoe, but you're getting a ton of foam underfoot. It's a max cushion shoe. It's got 39 millimeters of stack back here. It's got 4 millimeters of drop, so it still has a ton of stack up here in the front. Looks, now I've seen sexier trail shoes out there. It feels tall, it looks tall, it is tall. That's the only gripe on looks. As for price, 140 bucks. I actually think you're getting a fairly good value on this. There's a lot of shoe here for 140 bucks. It can do a lot. It's kind of commuter oriented, trails, roads, you can do a little bit of everything. So not a bad value at 140 bucks. I'm not really sure this shoe fits into the commuter category. I would say this is a little more oriented to the trail, which actually I think is a good thing. You know, I didn't love the lug pattern, but I didn't have any grip issues. Only been running it on dry terrain. I'd be interested to see how this works on wet, muddy terrain. But ultimately, you know, it's comfortable underfoot. There's tons of cushioning. There's a little bit of bounce that feels nice once you get used to the height. I think this is gonna be a great shoe for long, slow runs, training runs that you're not really concerned about speed, but you want comfort. and it's really gonna excel well for those people that don't really want ground feel. I really appreciate you guys watching this. Please go over to RunRepeat.com, check out all the stats and facts on the Caldera 5. We've got tons of things to compare it to. Also, we've got another YouTube video comparing this to the Divide 2. We're gonna do a Divide 2 solo video as well. And please hit the like button below, hit the subscribe button. Please help our channel grow. We really appreciate it. Now get out there and run, go do be, run, repeat.